Ability, skill, and talent can be developed through hard work. Build courageousness. Become confident and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Kristian Livolsi, welcome. It is the hot seat. It is Wednesday. How you going?
I'm good. I think you got a shit internet connection.
Oh no. Tell me it's not my internet.
I think it might be having 4 boys home and a dog during school holidays. All of them on
It
their
is school holiday.
devices.
It is storming here in Sydney. The weather is quite terrible. It hailed last night, oddly enough.
Oh, wow.
So it's a bit rough. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the weather.
But
We're
you know
here for
what?
the
You
hot
talk
seat.
about the weather every single week.
I do. It's just an opening question. How are you going? How's the weather?
It shows
Let's
nerves, Simone. It shows nerves.
Okay. From next week, I'm going to come up with a better opening question, and it won't be "How are you?" and "How is the weather in Adelaide?"
Amazing. Amazing. And hello to our wonderful viewers.
Welcome
Thank you
back.
for being there.
Welcome if you're new to this. This is the hot slate. I have 3 burning questions that I'm going to ask Kristian today. He has a maximum of 2 minutes to answer them. He often answers them below 2 minutes. So let's see where today is going to go. He has control of the panel. I have no control over any sound effects or anything that happens in this course. On Kristian Livolsi, I have nothing to do with what happens in this call. Okay, so this week we're here to talk about employee retention strategies. Now, I have a little dragon over my shoulder. School holidays, it's lots of fun. So my first question for you today,
Hey, buddy.
Kristian. Say hi, Kristian.
Hi, Kristian.
Hey, Blake. How are you, dude? You're a dinosaur.
Yeah, he is a dinosaur.
Very, very cool outfit, Blakey.
Okay, question 1 for today's hot seat, and we're talking all about employee retention strategies today. So what level of priority should we be giving employee retention within our businesses? We know it's a good idea to keep our employees for longer. We know that's obviously going to reduce our overheads of employing people, but what kind of priority should this be for our business?
Look, Simone, I don't know what planet you're on, but employers don't care about their employees and retaining them. That would be like the most ridiculous thing that we could possibly imagine. I mean, the unions keep telling us that employers are really bad people. I dare say that there is 10% that are bad, and but 90% of people genuinely care about their employees. And, the really good ones, the really good employers, the top 10, 20%, they put a lot of effort into retention. In fact, it's in most cases the number one priority. I certainly know that that's one of the metric that we use in our organization, but also all the clients that I advise. And I'm very proud to say that, our clients have one of the highest retention rates in Australia, and that's across, hundreds of clients. And the reason is we put a lot of emphasis and focus on culture and on development. But given these considerations, well, employee retention should be a high priority. The exact level of priority will also depend on certain factors. And I want to be clear, the nature of the business, right, is really important. In some industries or job roles, a higher turnover is expected and might be less concerning, right? Businesses in a growth phase rapidly growing companies might expect higher turnover as roles and organizational structures evolve. Company size, small businesses might feel the impact of a single departure more significantly than, say, a large company. And also the talent availability, in specialized sectors where, say, talent is actually really scarce, like regionality. You're wrestling with Blake. It's quite funny to watch. I think every business owner who's at home working knows the challenges of little people during school holidays. So it's okay. Yeah. So that's it.
It's an interesting topic, like when you say that retention is a really great strategy and something we pride ourselves on. I'm interested, and this is not my second question, so I'm being a bit cheeky here that I'm throwing in an extra one because I can. What are your thoughts on when you have a really fast-paced environment that's changing a lot, and you'll hear these concepts and ideas of, well, if you've got a workforce that have been there for 10 years or over 5 years, then they're stuck in their ways and they're not willing to move with the business.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's a scenario that happens all the time. And blessed are the employees of Australia, because regardless, if you don't want to change or adapt, you are unfireable. People will say that there is a process, but the damage is significant during that. And so what we believe in organizations that need to change or adapt is have a consultative approach with your team. There's the opportunities to make redundancies if you want to create massive change, or use the law in its entirety, which is, 3 warnings, a certain number of periods between each warnings, and then also don't make it, obvious, even though it is obvious, and don't hurt their feelings and do all those things, because even if you follow the process, if you are employ more than 15 or 20 people, you'll be subjected to unfair dismissal, and that's a very laborious, expensive process. I mean, this is a shit show for many business owners, and I'm very blunt about it. But I've never fired anyone I've wanted to keep. Pretty straightforward. And I work very hard to keep the right people in my business. I've also never chased anyone who's wanted to leave. Even if I've wanted to keep them, because when someone says they want to go, that's their right. Let them go. Right. I don't have the sentiment of, there's more, there's better fish in the sea. I've lost some good people in my time, but not because they went to a competitor. They changed total direction, and I've got to say, anyone worthwhile keeping has never gone and competed against me. And I think that's testimony of how we look after and nurture people. So, if you're building a new business, sometimes you're better off shutting that business down and start again. Pay all your people out, and some people will say, well, that's phoenixing, or that's it. No, that's if you liquidate a company. But I'm saying if you've got a business that's evolved significantly, and it's been in business for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden you come up with something brand new, but no one wants to adapt to it, you might be just better off shutting it down and reopening. And doing the right thing, paying out everybody's entitlements, making them redundant, which is a very, very expensive process. Personally, I think governments in Australia need to do more of this, but there is this big drive from unions and our current government that that works against that. And it's a shame, because business is hard. Business is hard. There's not that many. There's not that many people that employ lots of people that are swimming in cash. Not everyone can be Qantas.
Yeah.
And again, when people do the wrong thing, they will be punished. And Alan Joyce and his crew of merry men and women, have just been deemed by the High Court that terminating all those employees during COVID was not acceptable. So I don't know the logistics of it, but again, that's a really good example of what happens. That's right. Answer his question. His question. That's it. Blake, Blake? No, he's going. I was going to ask
He's,
him a question. Hey,
he's
buddy.
gone back.
Hey, Blake.
Yeah.
Blake, what do you want to say to everybody watching?
You're waiting to go and see your girlfriend next door because it's her birthday, and he
Oh,
hasn't.
is that why? Your girlfriend. What's her name?
Arrow.
Her name's Arrow.
Oh, right. Now, I wonder if Arrow's parents have seen this. You might be in trouble.
Luckily, they're a good family. All right, let's move on. Question 2. I wanted to ask you, what factor do you believe has the most significant impact on employee retention? And we've talked about this a little bit before with culture and values, and I know you're not going to say it's money. I know that that's not the biggest thing for so many people. So what's your take on this?
Look, the most critical factor is the impact on culture and morale, right? Because that also affects not only your internal customers, but it also affects the external customer, which affects your bottom line. Staff retention, again, and I go back to the point I made earlier, is all about retaining your very best people. We teach people how to recruit A players. We build companies of A players, and that's really challenging. And you're always going to have a couple of B players, but you never concede to C players because they completely destroy your culture. But if you can work really hard at retaining your A players, then your A players will attract more A players, because the most demotivating thing for an A player is working with a B and C player. Right? So they start to attract their own tribe. There is science around how you do this, right? But I want also our listeners to consider, the financial costs of turnover, the loss of institutional knowledge, the brand, and also the reputational damage, the indirect costs that come from it. But also, I want you to think of the positive opportunity. What are the benefits of high retention? Right? There's so many benefits of high retention. One of my clients where I was today, their retention rate is like 90%, right? At over 40 years. So they've got people that have done two rounds of long service leave. So, and they're an amazing company that I'm so proud. Bohu Engineering, right? Is the company. Plug for you guys. They're a phenomenal company. We had our leaders day today. We do it every quarter where we reset their priorities. And, the culture in that business is amazing. We walk through the 4-minute mile. We walk through 10X leadership. We walk through, the man on the mound, how to be the lonely nut and having the first and second follower that creates momentum. And that's what we focus on. We're constantly upskilling and leveling up our people and building layers of leadership. It's funny. Sometimes I don't get this question anymore. People always say, "Kristian, what do you really do?" I mean, you're a strategist. Yeah, I'm a strategist, but I'm also an executioner. We get shit done, and the strategies underpin where we end up. And retention and recruitment are at number one. I mean, we invest so much money in training, right? We invest more in training than we do in marketing. And let me tell you something, there's secret in what I've just said, and I'm not going to go into any more of it. For that, you'll have to pay me a couple of grand an hour. But the key is, there is real science and real there's real knowledge behind all that.
Yeah. And, I say this quite often, and I have said it for years. At the end of the day, we are spending more time at work than what we do with our families a lot of the time. So you have to really enjoy what you're going to do. You have to enjoy the people that you're spending your time with. And I think that just touches back to what you said about culture, that it's so much more than just a paycheck within all of that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So my first question that I had for you today is, how do you really measure the effectiveness of your employee retention rates? Like, is it just about the top of
You love you force me to give away our tricks. So, to the massive 7 viewers that are watching us on whatever platform.
Because what I actually feel like is just me developing myself into my GM role, and I'm just getting the opportunity to dig in and figure out all the stuff I need for my position. So,
well, you better get pen and paper ready. So, obviously, the turnover rate is the first one, and that's essentially calculating the turnover rate for a given period, usually annually. Some people do it monthly, and that's essentially, turnover is equal to the number of employees who left during that period divided by the average number of employees during that period and multiplied by 100, right? Now,
you might refer to as FTE. Yeah, your FTE.
So a decreasing turnover rate over time can be, a direct indication of effective retention. Okay. Then you've got, so that's your turnover rate. Then you've got your retention rate, and that's the opposite to the turnover rate. That's essentially 1 minus turnover rate multiplied by 100. Okay. You've got also the tenure analysis that you can do, which examines the average tenure of current employees and compare it to historical data. Now, say an increase in average tenure will suggest in most cases that the retention initiatives are working. We also track all three of those at Bowhill. We also do this, we also do the next one, which is exit interviews. So you can ask the departing employees why they're leaving, and then you can bring that back into the feedback loop. We also do stay interviews. So unlike exit interviews, these are conducted with current employees, especially the long-term ones, to understand why they stay. No, really simple. Then we do employee engagement surveys. We do employee net promoter scores. We then go a little bit further with some of our clients, where we look at both the cost of turnover and the performance metrics. Okay. So performance metrics monitor metrics relevant to the industry. Okay. And, in retention initiatives are effective, you kind of might be noticing improvements in areas like productivity, sales, customer service, etc. One big one that we do across the group is referral rates. We track the amount of referrals that our team bring in, and we pay them a couple of $1,000 when someone is successfully hired, and that rewards them for bringing the other A players in. In some companies, we go as much as 5,000, and then feedback and suggestion systems are always great. Benchmarking, but essentially overall business metrics will give you the answer. So regularly reviewing and analyzing any of those metrics that I mentioned will provide you with the insights, but also the measurement effectiveness. And so it's that imperial creativity that Jim Collins talks about, and also then having a hell of a lot of productive paranoia with a substantial amount of fanatical discipline.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is there's a whole structure to implement around this to really monitor and assess and do all these sorts of things. So
look, Simone,
is this kind of being a performance of the people?
Sorry, you cut out.
Like a lot of people would have done like annual. Oh, sorry. So a lot of companies probably do like annual performance reviews and things like that. Is that where you'd build into these structures?
No, I mean we obviously have annual PAs and we build those into client companies, but it's much more than that. A lot of those metrics are conducted on a monthly basis. Like net promoter scores and surveys are done monthly. We did even after today's leadership day with 14 leaders, we send them out a survey asking them what they loved, what they didn't like, and that gives us the measurement instruments to review what we're going to do next quarter. This is all about the rhythm of the organization. And, people always say to me, Kristian, why do your companies that you advise, including your own, grow so fast? It's called the pulse. All right. We've got a heartbeat and we pulse fast. It's like going to the gym. You want to get fitter, healthier, stronger, train faster, harder, and more often, right? You want to learn to run an ultra marathon. Speak to David Goggins. It didn't happen overnight. He did try that, and it didn't work out very well for him. It comes down to that, Simone. And too many business owners go at it solo, especially growing companies. If you're doing over $1 million between 1 and 5 million, you're in the danger zone. Right. In fact, if you're in between the 1 and 2 million, you're really in the danger zone, and you really need to be picking up the phone and talking to one of our team. Because we've got the skills and the talent to be able to help people get from A to B, but also get them from B to Z. And why? Because, as you know, I'm 80 ventures deep. I've made the mistakes for other people, and I don't care what people have to say. Back in the day, where it's like, oh well, you had a lot of failure. Yep, great, and I've landed in the best job in the world, doing what I love, and that is changing the lives of not just the business owners that I represent and work for, but all of their employees, and there are thousands of them, and I'm luckier for it, and so are they. So it is. It comes down to. That's what I hope the value that people get from listening to our hot seat is the insight that they will receive. And I'm not even sure if you're there, Simone. You are frozen.
I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear.
Right, great. Well, I mean, it's great since we've got gigabyte internet in our office. So we always like to think that it's never us on our end. But Sydney's enduring storms. Now, I unfortunately have to go. As you know, I've got another client now. It's been a very long day since 5 a.m. this morning and it hasn't stopped. So hopefully that was a lot of value for our listeners, and people are taking notes, particularly around the measurement instruments that we gave away.
Absolutely. Kristian Livolsi, it's a pleasure as always to receive your time and insights. We thank our viewers for being here and listening. And if you'd like to know more about what we do and how we can help you, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to have a chat. All right, Kristian Livolsi, enjoy your evening, and we'll be back next week, Wednesday, with Hot Seat.
Thanks, Simone. Bye-bye.
Working with Kristian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Kristian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Kristian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Kristian Livolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Kristian. This is